Welcome to this breakout session on creating high-quality listings. Glad you could join me. We have a live chat, so if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask them there. Let's start the session by looking at the stereotypical setup in Channable. This looks good, right? No red fields anywhere and everything is filled in as it should. However, there are still quite some optimizations to make here. To mention some examples, the bullet point fields are omitted and the key strengths of the products are not mentioned, and there's no parent-child setup that is being made here. And as a result, this setup will have trouble getting found on the marketplace, which means lower conversion rates and increased likelihood of returns. Well, in this session, I want to run through what I consider to be a high-quality listing and why you should always set this as a goal, but also take you through the struggles that I have seen among Channable clients and how we are setting out to support you with these struggles. In particular, I want to walk you through Marketplaces V2 and our Amazon rework. Let's begin. Well, the point of having a high-quality listing is to get a flywheel going. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you know or have seen an image that describes a process like this, right? For those who haven't, the point is to get a snowball effect, where your listing turns into a full-blown, unstoppable, revenue-generating avalanche. With a high-quality listing, this flywheel is a lot easier to kick off. But that is not all. With the entry of sponsored products on marketplaces, your listing quality becomes even more important. Imagine that you are opening a restaurant and at the start you can invest 10K in local advertising. But if your chef can't cook, it's going to be wasted money. Maybe you can better spend that 10K hiring Gordon Ramsay to come on over and shout at the chef a couple of times, right? Well, similar to the restaurant, bad listing quality also means your advertising budget goes to waste. So far, this is not really new. Every seller on marketplaces knows this, although it does not mean that everyone is doing it. And at Channable, we noticed that our clients are also not always optimizing their setup for all marketplaces. For example, less than half of our clients are using parent-child structures on major marketplaces. From what we have heard or seen, it's not because clients are lazy or ignorant, so rest assured that I'm not here to burn you down, but it's mainly because it's really hard to do, especially as you scale up your marketplace operations. You're not selling 100 items at your local grocery store. Selling online really means your catalog runs in the thousands or even millions. Making a fully optimized listing for all of these items is really, really hard. So where do we see you struggle? Well, it seems to be due to several factors. Let's start with the first, the different requirements per marketplace. As you scale up on marketplaces, so does the information that you are required to submit to bring a product online. For a generalist marketplace, for example, there's a lot less category-specific market information to fill in compared to a specialist marketplace. We also see our clients struggling with missing data. And I think we've all been in a situation where you're setting up an API and finding out that there's a lot more information required than you have by hand. And some data might even be too hard to find straight away. Third, once the setup is complete, we see that it's very hard to keep track of your setup quality. And as we all know, marketplaces aren't static entities either. Requirements change frequently, which makes you as a seller adjust. And as time goes by and as you add new products to your catalog, your first setup quality deteriorates and becomes less optimized. And finally, we also need to acknowledge that some people just prefer speed over quality, right? Sometimes it just matters more to get your products live and work on quality afterwards. I mean, after all, making a suboptimal level of sales beats making no sales whatsoever. Well, at Channable, we want to help you live up to these challenges. Let's walk you through how we intend to do so. Starting with how we want to solve data gaps in all the different requirements that these marketplaces have. And I think that this is a problem that everybody here has run into at some point. Well, you might be in a similar situation shown here. An import that does not contain nearly enough information and there's no way to quickly add some information without a lot of effort. Well, wouldn't it be great to solve this problem by pressing one single button? Well, that is what our AI attributes feature can do for you. Like Robert said, for all your products, you can generate required information, fill data gaps, and help your products get optimized. In case you missed it in the keynote session, AI attributes will be rolled out soon, so keep an eye on your Channable interface to see when it becomes available. Next, let's discuss what we call Marketplaces V2. We recognized that our current API interface really needed some polishing. Some products start out with the best of intentions, but as time goes by, those intentions may become less and less logical. And this also counts for our API interface. We saw some of you spending hours and hours searching in our attribute builder for possible improvements to products or overlooking fields that are required by a marketplace, and then struggled to find out what exactly you had filled in for your products. And as a result, there were not only a lot of errors when activating the API, we also saw our clients being frustrated a lot and spending a lot of time on unnecessary tasks in Channable. And this is something that we want to make a thing of the past. Well, some of you may have already encountered it in your APIs, but we are now rolling out a new interface for all these APIs. We call this Marketplaces V2, and it is a big redesign of our APIs. In this new API, we have changed the flow that you have to go through to set up these APIs. We have changed the build step, we have removed the attribute step, and we have added a quality and a preview step. Let's have a quick look at each step individually. To start with the biggest shocker, we have removed the attribute builder. I know that is a big change, but I think it's well worth it. In Marketplaces V2, you can map all attributes in the build step, which makes it more convenient to see what information you need to fill in on one single location rather than spread over multiple places in the tool. In the build step, you can find share attributes that count for all your items and category-specific attributes that can vary per category. Is speed something that really matters to you? Well, we've got you covered. Filter out all the optional fields to avoid clutter and focus on the required fields only. The new build step allows you to focus your efforts on the information that matters. Do you want to know which attributes need attention without having to endlessly search for red fields in our old attribute builder? Well, good news. Our quality step helps you with identifying where your mapping can improve. To help with navigation, we point to the exact spot in the build step to help you rectify the situation straight away. Furthermore, do you recall the problem of after setup maintenance that we just talked about? Well, you can solve this by treating the quality step by treating like your own personal to-do list. We advise you to check out the quality step every once in a while, as changes in your import or new marketplace requirements will become apparent in this step. In the quality step, you really can keep your finger on the pulse at all times. And in case you want to go granular and drill down on one specific error or one specific product, we advise you to use our new preview step. This will allow you to filter products with errors or products with one specific error. In case you want to see what you have filled in for one single product that is important to you, you can drill down to see more details. Just like in the quality step, you can navigate back to the build step straight away to see where the error comes from. We expect this new interface to make your setup and maintenance process a whole lot more convenient and effective. Of course, we're not stopping here, but more on that later. And our final feature is, I'm very excited to be able to reveal this one. Well, we noticed that migrating to Channable or picking up existing listings was a very painful process for newly onboarding clients on Amazon. For example, I'm sure some of you have been in a situation where Channable forced you to fill in attributes for products where you later found out that this was not necessary at all. Having to set up an API from scratch is already a challenge, and we noticed your disappointment when you later found out that you could have skipped a large part of that process. This is also why we are introducing a new Amazon API that, besides its current features, also allows you to identify which products are already known on Amazon. For clients that are already selling on Amazon, we will even show which products are already present on your Amazon account. This will allow you to skip a large part of the setup process and drastically increase your onboarding time of one of the world's largest marketplaces. Setting up Amazon is always a process that needs attention and security. But with our new Amazon exporter, we will take away a large part of that work for you. Now, we also realize that there are still some areas that we can improve on, and we've identified 3 problems that we often hear you talk about when it comes to setting up a new API. And now we need your help to decide which one of these problems is the most important to you. So what are these problems that I'm talking about exactly? Well, problem 1 relates to solving errors, and we can imagine that it's quite frustrating to be unaware of where all the errors in the results step come from, and we've heard you ask for more guidance in solving errors. And if this is the direction you want for Channable, vote for option number 1. Problem number 2 is about getting recommendations on how to improve setup quality. Remember the setup we talked about earlier in the start of this presentation? Well, in those cases, it might really be nice to get some tips and tricks, right? Or some best practices on how to proceed. If this is your cup of tea, vote for number 2. And problem number 3 is mainly pointed at people that like efficiency. So we have heard that you really want to expand to multiple marketplaces faster than you currently can. And if you are one of those people, and if setup speed really matters to you, let us know by voting for option number 3. You can now vote by clicking on your preferred option, and thanks in advance for sharing your thoughts. Well, we really hope that these kinds of setups that we saw here are going to be a thing of the past. And with everything that we are releasing, you can take a comfortable seat in the driver's seat of your marketplace strategy. Leave data gaps and incomplete setups behind and become even more successful on marketplaces. Good luck and happy selling.